All right, viewers, the stage is set for the mega inauguration of the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. The Prime Minister is going to be here in less than 2 hours. He's going to be here for 2 straight days, inaugurating what he promised in 2019 to his constituency and to the state of Uttar Pradesh, which is the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor, which the corridor has completely changed what the experience of visiting the temple has been. It was highly congested at one point of time, and now this entire corridor is spread across 5,000 hectares. The first phase completed at a cost of about 350 crores. The entire project is to cost about 800 crores. But in terms of the experience that one gets as a devotee, that has completely changed. I'm going to get you a quick glimpse on what the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor is looking like.
एक तय समय सीमा के अंदर भव्य धाम न केवल भारत के आस्थावान श्रद्धालु जनों के लिए बल्कि काशी को वैश्विक पहचान देने की दिशा से आज तैयार हो गया है। पूरा काशी अपने लोकप्रिय सांसद और देश के लोकप्रिय प्रधानमंत्री जी के स्वागत के लिए उतावला है, आनंदित है। ये कभी आनंद कानन हुआ करता था, आज हर एक काशीवासी इस आनंद कानन का अनुभव काशी विश्वनाथ धाम के माध्यम से कर रहा है और ये धाम बनकर के तैयार हो चुका है।
देखिए, ये हम सबके लिए बहुत ही खुशी का विषय है कि आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी द्वारा कल काशी विश्वनाथ मंदिर का धाम का श्री गणेश होगा और ये जो 3000 स्क्वायर फीट की जगह थी मंदिर के परिसर की, वो आज 50,000 स्क्वायर मीटर की जगह बनी है और भव्य मंदिर बन करके और मंदिर का नवीनीकरण हुआ है। बाबा का आशीर्वाद आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी पर है और रहेगा, और साथ ही साथ बाबा का आशीर्वाद सारे देश और दुनिया के लिए मंगलमय कामना के लिए हमेशा रहता है।
Kashi Vishwanath Corridor, the place where we are reporting from, and first I want to go through directly to the visuals of this majestic Kashi Vishwanath temple, the way it has been made into things. This is just beyond imagination. Nobody imagined Kashi Vishwanath to be like this. The entire corridor, my cameraman Neeraj is showing you the visuals of this entire corridor. How beautifully this entire corridor has been decked up with flowers, with lightnings. The entire scenario matches somewhere and somehow to the Deepotsav of Ayodhya, and the same scenario is now happening in Varanasi, the constituency of Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. And see the lamps, the way it has been lighted up, the entire scenario, the architecture of these buildings are themselves telling a story that development can happen if one wishes to, and the devotees are thronging the temple of Kashi Vishwanath to take blessings of Lord Shiva. As Prime Minister is all set for the visit of in Varanasi, the stage is set for the mega inauguration of Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. With cameraman Neeraj Kumar, Samarth Srivastava for India Today.
All right, viewers. So, you know, all those reactions till very late last evening. The Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath was inside the premises of the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. We had JP Nadda, the BJP party president, who was also, you know, taking a quick look at the preparations that were going on. A lot is at stake as well. You know, many would suggest, you know, we've been talking to many academics in Varanasi, and most of them suggest it was like a mini reform that the Prime Minister actually pushed through and succeeded in doing so. There was resistance earlier. You know, I've come here multiple times. There had been resistance, but you know, the Prime Minister and his team was able to push through this reform. And what you actually see, for anyone who actually, you know, walks across the Kashi Vishwanath corridor, the visuals are spectacular to say the least. Yes, a lot of work is still left. This is only phase one. The opposition says that it is being inaugurated at a time when elections are in the offing. But having said that, the people of Kashi, Varanasi, Banaras, whatever you may call it, are ecstatic. For them, it's deliverance. The Prime Minister promised in 2019. He's delivered. What they see is beautiful, because still now, viewers, if any of you who've ever stepped into the Kashi Vishwanath temple would, actually see that it was extremely cramped, wedged in from all sides with tiny myriad bylanes. Even the priest, was telling me yesterday that the sunlight would not even fall on the temple. It was that cramped. What you see now is something entirely different, spectacular. It is an experience. Having said that, I want to cut across right now to my colleague Mohit, who is joining me from the Circuit House. Mohit, would you quickly take us through the itinerary of the Prime Minister, set to land in about an hour and a half? Get us the latest.
Well, absolutely, Preeti. The Prime Minister is all set to land here in Varanasi at about 11 a.m. and from there he'd be taking a chopper to a nearby helipad. Traditionally it is said that before you actually go to the Kashi Vishwanath temple, you need to go to the Kal Bhairav Mandir as well, the Kal Bhairav temple as well. And that's something precisely what the Prime Minister is going to do as well. His schedule says that at about noon, at about 12 p.m. is when he will reach the Kal Bhairav Mandir. He will perform the traditional puja out there. And from there he would be taking a water vessel wherein he would be directly traveling to one of the ghats which will be inaugurated as a part of the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. At about 1 is when we expect him to reach the Kashi Vishwanath Dham or the corridor, and the preparations, the inauguration will start from there onwards. First there is going to be a proper puja which would take place, and post that there would be a proper inauguration of the same as well. He is expected to be there, and he's expected to be there with a whole lot of VVIPs, including the several chief ministers who've been also invited here. At least 12 chief ministers and 2 deputy chief ministers are somebody who have been invited amongst many others. So you could expect a whole lot of a huge event that has been planned here at the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. Just to give you a glimpse of how Kashi has been decorated and plastered with the posters as well, we'll just ask my camera person to just pan out and showcase how the posters of the inauguration of the Prime Minister have come up everywhere. This happens to be the Circuit House. Of course, inside happens to be the CM Yogi Adityanath, who's taking the stock of the situation as we speak as well, because it's the last minute preparations, whether it's about trying to assess the security concerns, whether it's about the overall schedule of how things will work out, and other things as well. So all that stock is being taken inside the Circuit House as we speak. Now, coming back to the Prime Minister's schedule, once he's done inaugurating the Kashi Vishwanath Temple corridor, he's expected to have closed door meetings with several other people here itself in Varanasi, and it is expected that about 6 is when he could be at a Roro vessel. It's a type of a cruise that the Prime Minister would be taken, and from there he will witness the 6 p.m. Aarti of that take place at the banks of River Ganga. So of course it is going to be a busy schedule today for the Prime Minister when he makes his way here, but definitely something to watch out for. It's been made into a grand event, something that the BJP has managed to do, and we were showing you highlights yesterday as well from various ghats where it was clearly visible that how it's not just only concentrated at the Kashi Vishwanath corridor, but at the same time at various other locations as well. Sound and laser programs are going to be deployed, are going to be organized at several ghats. Apart from that, there are cultural events that have also been called for. So clearly, the BJP in its, is essentially ensuring that this is a huge event that takes place, leaving no stone unturned. And given the fact that, 12 chief ministers are here, you could really expect, one of a kind inauguration that will take place at 1:30 p.m. today.
Well, it's going to carry on, Mohit, for days from here on, isn't it? The inauguration will take place at about 1:30, but having said that, in the evening right here, I'm standing at the Dashashwamedh Ghat. The Prime Minister is going to be right here in a boat, and he's going to be witnessing the iconic Aarti which takes place at the Dashashwamedh Ghat as well. We're going to keep you posted, get you a bird's eye view, the front row seats, all the cliches there when it comes down to this coverage. But let's now get down to what the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor is all about. The biggest thing it does, viewers, is makes the pilgrimage to the Kashi Vishwanath temple, which sees a footfall from anywhere close to 10,000 to 1 lakh people per day, makes life way easier for them. Instead of an ordeal, because they had to, go through a myriad bylanes earlier, they can actually directly, go to the temple from the ghats. It links the ghats and to the temple directly. It's expansive, it's stunning, it's got a massive green cover, and I'm going to tell you something as small and something so important. Earlier on, there were no restrooms, especially for old people who would be coming to visit the temple. There were no restrooms. There are multiple restrooms, there are places to sit, there's a green cover. All in all, at least for the people of Varanasi, it is a blessing and quite a boon is what most of them tell us, that, you know, it's finally actually happened. There is politics around it, understandably so. The opposition says that the BJP is trying to leverage it to the maximum to gain political dividends with an eye on the upcoming elections in the next 2-3 months. Also, viewers, and we'd like to say that this is the first phase. The entire project, even though is inaugurated today, the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor, it's not complete. About 40 to 50% is still left. It's going to take a year or two for it to actually see completion and come into its full glory and what it was envisioned as. I'm going to break it down for you in this detailed report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's dream project, the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor, is finally a reality. Built over a sprawling area of 5,000 hectares, the grand structure is 50 feet long. The corridor connects the ancient Kashi Vishwanath temple of Lord Shiva with two revered ghats of holy Ganga. The corridor will immensely ease the access of pilgrims to the ghats, bypassing the narrow lanes in the millennium-old city. The structure in Prime Minister Modi's home constituency Varanasi will decongest the temple complex, earlier surrounded by buildings on 3 sides. The dazzling inauguration ceremony is named Divya Kashi, Bhavya Kashi. The city is decked up to welcome Prime Minister Modi. To mark the occasion, a colourful Shiv Barat was taken out in this city of Lord Shiva.
Excitement hai hum log. You can see a lot of number of students from Kashi have arrived at this place.
Enthusiasm and excitement surround Varanasi as devotees celebrate the mega event.
इसका एक्चुअली एक तरह से हम लोग अपने विद्यालय में जैसे देव दिवाली बनारस में मनती है, वैसे हम लोग शिव दिवाली मना रहे हैं.
BJP has planned month-long celebrations to mark the inauguration. Uttar Pradesh government will be distributing laddus as prasad to 8 lakh households of Varanasi.
वो भी बहुत अच्छा है. भगवान के लिए हम लोग प्रसाद बना रहे हैं और 8 लाख रुपया 8 लाख बांटने के लिए प्रसाद बना रहे हैं. बहुत बढ़िया लग रहा है.
Women from different villages have come here to prepare these basin laddus, as order has been given to various centers. More than 3,500 centers have been made for the distribution purposes, while orders have been given to many famous shopkeepers.
The corridor is expected to give a mega boost to the religious tourism of Varanasi. Facilities for tourists have been enhanced without tampering with the original structure of the ancient Kashi Vishwanath temple. Among the part of the corridor are an over 7,000 square meter platform where 10,000 people can meditate. It also has 7 grand entrance gates for easy pilgrim movement. Hundreds of small temples have been made a part of the corridor. The mega spiritual and Vikas push in Modi's own turf may give a mega fillip to the Yogi Adityanath government ahead of the 2022 UP polls. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, I want to cut across right now to my colleague Samarth, who's joining me not very far from the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. Samarth, Mohit just detailed the itinerary of the Prime Minister. Today is going to be full of optics. Tomorrow is going to be massive electioneering in the city of Varanasi. And the optics where the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor or the celebration surrounding it is going to continue for days to come. But will you give us details on the guest list? For what we hear last, all the sitting chief ministers of BJP-ruled states are already in. 3,000 seers are to witness, the entire ceremony. Who else are we expecting?
Well, exactly. Kashi Vishwanath Corridor is all set to add to the spiritual vibrancy of Varanasi. If you talk about the guest list, a total of 12 CMs from different states that obviously were BJP CMs will be arriving Varanasi and will be joined by the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. But first I want to show you the visuals out here from where I'm reporting from. It is the Dashasmekh Ghat, and right behind me you can see the visuals out here. Just witness the divinity of river Ganga. Just witness the divinity of the entire Ghat. How devotees are coming to take a holy dip in river Ganga. You can see boats could be seen sailing around this Ganga, and this is the place where Prime Minister will also visit. Apart from this, it is going to be a happening moment for not just for Kashi but for entire Uttar Pradesh, as it's a big thing ahead. Elections are coming and Purvanchal was always the top focus for Bharatiya Janata Party, and with the arrival, while speaking to India Today exclusively, JP Nadda spoke and said that it will be a great gift for Purvanchal and UP, the Kashi corridor. So it's going to be very crucial ahead of UP elections as well. But if you talk about the event, Prime Minister will be arriving around 11 to 11:30 a.m. today. He will first take blessings of Kal Bhairav, who is also called the first Kotwal of Varanasi. After that, he'll visit other places, and 1:30 p.m. he'll be reaching the Kashi corridor. He'll take blessings from Kashi Vishwanath. Thereafter, in the evening, he'll also meet the 12 CMs, and the 12 CMs will also reach out to Ayodhya to take blessings of Ram Lala a day after. So these are the things, and BJP is not leaving any stone unturned to make this inauguration of Kashi corridor count, and that is why the opposition is also taking hard on Bharatiya Janata Party, as Akhilesh Yadav is obviously claiming that procedures were happened during Samajwadi Party regime. So these are the things. But if you talk about the divinity, then divinity is at its very best in the city of Kashi, the constituency of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and in few hours we'll witness something which was never expected in Varanasi, and it's going to be a major boost not just for Kashi but for entire Uttar Pradesh. Yes.
Okay. All right, Samarth, we're going to keep coming back to you for more details there. You know, Kashi is a place which really doesn't need more tourism because it's something, the pull of Kashi, Banaras, Varanasi has always been there. But what the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor will do is make it easier, will ease and make it memorable, an experience of a pilgrimage to the Kashi Vishwanath temple. To just, give our viewers perspective, it's going to be right behind me. If you see the ghat and the expanse of it, just 2 ghats from where I'm standing is where the Prime Minister is going to come in through the waterway, and then is going to go right up to the Kashi Vishwanath corridor there. He's going to take the water route, he's going to go right up. The main vision for the Prime Minister, viewers, was that he wanted to connect the ghat to the Kashi Vishwanath temple, which wasn't connected earlier. It was very congested. There were multiple myriad bylanes and residential colonies all around it. It was cramped from all 4 sides. Not like that anymore. But in terms of the cost of it, I want to cut across to give you a bit of perspective in terms of phases. The phase 1 will be inaugurated today. It's not complete, mind you. My colleague Akshita is going to detail the cost of the project of the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. Over to you, Akshita.
Let me sum up for you all the details you need to know about the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor that the Prime Minister is inaugurating today. The total cost of this project is a whopping 800 crore rupees, and the entire corridor covers about 5,000 hectares of land. Now, there is also adequate green cover in the region. About 70% of this entire corridor has a lot of green cover. It essentially connects the main temple directly to the Ganga Ghat, to the Lalita Ghat along the Ganga River. There are 7 grand gates, and also all the walkways now have been completely paved. It includes hundreds of small temples which have been resurrected, which have also been reconstructed and renovated. Now, auditoriums, public utility centers, there's also a museum that's present now along this corridor. A lot of devotees can gather without a problem. There's a platform for 10,000 devotees along this corridor. Remember that the foundation stone for this project was laid by Prime Minister Modi back in March 2019. So in 2 years now, this corridor is ready. Importantly, there's also a statue of Maharani Ahilyabai Holkar, and I'm sure a lot of you are asking who the Maharani is. She rebuilt the demolished temple back in 1776, so there's a tribute for her too in this corridor.
All right, viewers, but understandably, there is politics around it. Number one, an election is in order. In just about less than a month, the election dates for Uttar Pradesh will be announced, and the opposition is going after the BJP government, alleging that the government is trying to leverage maximum bang for buck in terms of political mileage at the back of the inauguration of the Kashi Vishwanath Corridor. So what has also happened is Akhilesh Yadav from the Samajwadi Party has said that it was we who actually floated the idea of the corridor. Listen in.
सब चीजें बाहर से लाई जा रही हैं, तो किसान की आय कैसे दोगुनी होगी? ये जवाब न पूछ ले, इसका ये सवाल जनता न कर दे। इसीलिए काशी विश्वनाथ कॉरिडोर और काशी विश्वनाथ कॉरिडोर भी अगर किसी ने कैबिनेट में पास किया था तो शुरुआत किसी की थी, तो समाजवादी सरकार की थी। वो भी हम डॉक्यूमेंट दे देंगे आपको।
All right, viewers, with that, we're going to take a quick break, but trust my colleague Samarth and my colleague Mohit. We're also going to be joined by our other reporters through the course of the day to get you the front row seats to this visual spectacle, which will unfold in just about an hour and a half from now. A quick break, stay with us.